Hello and welcome back to 7 Days of Singing with Stay at Home Choir. My name's Jamie. We are on day 5 of our 7 Days of Singing journey, and we are well on the way to turning this into a regular daily singing habit. Congratulations. Now today's session is called Peace. We'll be working on a really lovely little melody called Dona Nobis Pacem. Some of you may well have heard of this before, some of you may have even sung it. Now remember, you've also got your practice journal. You can fill that in beforehand to make sure you know what your aims are for the day and fill it out at the end. And by the end of the week, you can start looking at what's working, what may need a little bit more practice, and any patterns you might spot day on day for your practice. It can be a really useful tool just to give you some more awareness of your voice. Now, before we start singing, of course, we've got to do a little bit of a warm up. So join me reaching up. And as before, do change any of these warm ups as you need. You know your voice. Bring that chest forwards. Really feel that stretch. Nice. And pulling forwards again. Oh, really feel that. Give yourself a nice big hug. Oh, and look to one side. And the other side. Good. And again, as before, chin to chest, nice and released. Notice whether your knees are locked, give them a little wiggle, and then we're going to roll the head to the left. Again, if you like that stretch, just feel a bit of weight here. Extend that shoulder downwards. And release, chin to chest again, and rolling to the right hand side this time. Same again, if you want to feel a bit more intense on that stretch, you can pull down here, feeling that extension through the opposite shoulder. Nice, just give your shoulder a little roll. And give yourself one last hug. Nice, and just shake it out that little bit. Oh, lovely. And shake out the wrists. Good, give your face a massage again. And I want you to make the largest face you possibly can, sticking your tongue out, eyes as wide as you possibly can as well. Here we go. And now make your face as small as you can. Go. Big as you can. Small as you can. Big as you can, sticking your tongue out this time because I forgot. Here we go. And small as you can. One last time, tongue out as far as it goes. Go. Great. Anyone in the room will wonder what on earth you're doing. You can apologise to them later like you did to your neighbours in the previous one. Here we go. Let's just check in with the breath nice and gently. Notice how you're standing. Check that your hips are nice and loose. If you're standing up, if you're sat down, make sure you're sat in a nice neutral and upright position for your body. This should be really comfortable to sit like this. Again, one nice deep breath in your own time, just letting your breath out the way your body wants to. Here we go. One more of those. Now this time we're just going to let out a nice little sigh, slightly vocalized but almost no effort. Here we go. Nice and relaxed, very airy, breathy sound. We're not into singing yet. Here we go. Good, just increasing how high we go with our voice. One more time. Here we go. Nice and breathy, easy. This should almost feel like a massage for your vocal folds. Here we go, one more of those. Good, slowly getting higher and higher. We'll do 4 more until we get to our nice high upper range. Here we go. Again, very little effort, one more. If your voice cracks, don't worry for now. Last time, go. Now let's change that to an ooh. Here's one of my favourite exercises we do when we're warming up in Stay at Home Choir. From the very top of your range, all the way through to the very, very bottom, to a nice wide and open ooh sound. Just make that sound for me. Go. Ooh. Your turn. You sound great, well done. Here we go, from the very top of the range all the way through to the bottom. Your goal is to make the sound as consistent as you can. You will notice some gear changes and lumps and bumps on the way. All I want you to do is notice what happens for the first time. We'll do it twice and you can see how it feels. Here we go. I'll demonstrate first. You can rewind and I'll do it twice in total. You can rewind to watch the first one again if you need. Here we go. Nice. So the goal is to make that as smooth as possible. You'll notice probably three main areas of your voice. Is that main upper area, then there'll be a transition moment to an upper middle, and then there'll be another transition to your lower range, probably, which will feel a little bit like your speaking voice. That's your modal sound as well. Some of you may know that as your chest voice as well. So when you get lower down, you'll notice that transition. Your goal is to make that as smooth as possible. If you have lumps and bumps and cracks and all sorts, don't worry, that's what practice is for. You can, again, you can laugh with whoever's in the room with you later. Here we go. One more time. Nice. See what you notice. Take 20 seconds if you need. Just pause it and write in your practice journal anything you might notice there. If you do notice lots of lumps and bumps, we're going to now do it from the bottom to the very top. And this time we're going to focus on the breath beforehand. The reason we're going to do that is so we can create lots of space in our pharynx up here, lifting our soft palate before we go. That's going to make our job so much easier as we go through the range. From the bottom to the top this time. Again, I'll do it twice. Here we go. Same oo vowel. Don't worry about going too high. If you cracked, again, that's fine. Here's your second chance. Here we go. Nice. That's one of my favourite warm-ups. We do that all the time in stay-at-home choir. It's such a great way to check in with your voice, see what it's feeling like today. Again, the main goal of these sessions is to notice what your voice is doing. Notice any patterns. Notice where you find things easier or harder, because then you can go back and you can work on them later when you're practicing after this and in your own time. Let's move on to Dona Nobis Pacem. This is a Latin piece of music. The translation is grant us peace. Now, the goal with this is this lovely legato line. We want to feel connected. It should feel easy to sing. We'll sing it in a few different pitches. So if you find the pitch doesn't quite work for you, you can pause the video once you've learnt it and try it out at whatever pitch you like. We'll do this the way that I would approach learning a solo melody for the first time. Here we go. So the words are Dona nobis pacem. Say it with me, go. Dona nobis pacem. One more time. Dona nobis pacem. Here we go. I'll sing the first part of the phrase. You're going to sing it back to me. Here we go. Dona nobis. Go. Dona nobis. One more time. Dona nobis. Dona nobis. Pacem, pacem. Pacem, pacem. Pacem, pacem. Pacem, pacem. That's the first part. I'll sing the whole line this time and you'll repeat it back with me. Dona nobis pacem, pacem. Go. Dona nobis pacem, pacem. Lovely. Let's focus on the breath before that, before we move on to the second half. All I want you to do, we spoke about this the other day, the £5 breath, as if you've just found £5, or whatever your own currency is, enough to buy a small slice of cake on the way home, rather than any life-changing amount of money. It's not a breath, it's a pleasant surprise breath. It should feel nice and open, nice and relaxed with a little bit of a smile. That's going to help set up the sound in the best possible way so we can have a nice free start to the sound. That's really important. Here we go. Let's try that one more time, focusing on the breath at the start. Here we go. There's our starting note. Dona nobis pacem, pacem. My turn. Dona nobis, Dona nobis, pacem, pacem. This is the whole second half. Dona nobis, pacem. Go. Dona nobis. pacem. Now, if you want to go over any of those, pause the video. You can go back and run either of those as you need until you feel you've got it. Let's sing the whole thing now, paying attention to both of those breaths, or as many breaths as you need to take to get through this. What you should be noticing is an engagement of these muscles. It shouldn't feel like the sound is driving from here. If it is, make a note of that. Make a note of what it feels like, where it feels at its best and at its worst. You can stick that in your practice journal and come back to that later in your next piece of practice. Here we go. Here's the whole thing. We're going to start there, do, na. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Dona nobis pacem, pacem. Dona nobis pacem. Nice. Now we're going to move on to another way of looking at this to make sure we have this nice long uninterrupted line. We can find consonants can get in the way of the airflow and can interrupt the beautiful smooth line. So we'll come back to those later. One of my favorite ways to approach a melody is to sing it all to a vowel. I'm going to start with an R vowel. You can pause this and try with any of the different vowels. You will notice it feels very, very different with each vowel you try. Let's do it to an R to begin with. Let's start there. R. 1, 2, 3. Ah, ah, ah. We can do the same thing this time to an oo vowel, and I want you to see how that feels different, in what way, good or bad. There's our starting note to an oo. 2, 3. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Nice. Now I find an oo vowel much harder than an R vowel. That's a very common thing for singers to find. Notice how it feels singing it to each different vowel. R, E, O, E, oo. See what feels difficult, see what feels easy. Here we go. We'll do it one last time, this time to an E vowel, then I'll leave you to the rest of your practice. There's an E, 1, 2, 3, E. Nice. And why not once more for luck with the final words added in. Dona nobis pacem. See how it feels now? Notice our support muscles. Notice what the breath is doing. Notice the nice open vowel. Here we go. Let's keep it there. Do, 2 and 3. Dona nobis pacem, pacem. Dona nobis pacem. Really well done. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining me today for day 5 of 7 days of singing. Make sure if you've printed it off, you go out and fill out your practice journal, see what you notice. That's the most important way to improve as a singer, is noticing your voice, noticing what feels good, what feels bad, and noticing the scenarios that make that the case. Only then can you begin to then work on things and break things down into the little parts to help you practice more efficiently. Now, I hope you've got something lined up after this to take away and practice for another 5 or 10 minutes. By all means, carry on with this piece of music, or even watch back the second half of this to get a little bit of extra singing practice in. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you again tomorrow.